Hello my crafty friends and welcome back to another card making video. Today I'm featuring the September card kit by SSS Stamp and I'm sharing lots and lots of cards. This is one of my most requested videos, so let's go. First we're going to take a quick look on what's included. You will get lots and lots of these Tim Holtz washi tapes. I believe there are 8 rolls included in this package. You will also get a bottle of liquid pearls. These are great for adding accents on your project. You will also get this glue stick. This is a new product by SSS Stamp. I haven't used it yet, but it is fun to have new glue. It's always handy. You will also get this die. This cuts out the word happy birthday, perfect for your stash. And let's take a look at the papers. And actually this is the star of the show today. I'm going to make as many cards as I can until I use up all the pattern paper. I know you will be able to find lots and lots of ideas on how you can make cards using the stamps, so I'm focusing mainly on the pattern paper today. The fun part about this kit is that you get 2 big stamp sets this month, so just color the images to make tons of cards. You will also get stickers. These include lots of sentiments and they are great for many different types of cards. And as always, you will get envelopes as well as cardstock in matching colors. So for today, I'm focusing mainly on the pattern paper. I'm going to create cards until I end up with only scraps of this pattern paper. You can take a rectangle die and go through all the papers. And as you can see, I can easily cut out panels that would work as a card front on an A2 sized card. And I can work with these designs either vertically or horizontally. So for my first card I'm going to work with this lovely design with the bike. Simply cut it out and stick it by using foam tape at the back on top of a yellow card base. You can call it done, just stick a sentiment on top. However, I'm going to show you how you can take it a step further. The front page and the back page have lots and lots of designs that you can fuzzy cut if you wish so. I'm going to fuzzy cut a few of those sunflowers as well as a few of the leaves so that I can pop them on top of the other design. This is going to give some dimension and make the card more special. It's not difficult to fuzzy cut them, you don't have to be perfect. I'm leaving a white border all around. And then once I have all the elements ready to go, I'm going to add some foam tape at the back and embellish that design that is already there. This is exactly where I'm going to stick the flowers, mainly keeping that visual triangle on the bottom right side of the card base. I like to have some of the elements hanging out of the main panel. And then for the sentiment, I'm going with this one from one of the 2 stamp sets. I did stamp it once in yellow and another time in brown, just because I wanted to see if it would be quite readable. I'm going to use my scissors to cut around that and stick it on top of my card. I did use foam tape at the back of my sentiments. And to finish off my card, I added a few gems. These are gems that I keep on using again and again by PinkFresh Studios. Here I went with the brown copper ones, just one at the center of the sunflowers, and here are some close-up photos on the first card for today. It's a really pretty paper pad and that's why I'm focusing today on the paper pad. I know that you can find lots and lots of ideas on how you can use up the stamps. You can color them with different coloring mediums and stick them on top of your card, but I hope that a video showing you ideas on how to use the pattern paper is really valuable. Leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. So for the second card I'm going for a super simple card. This pattern paper with the strawberries is so pretty and I want this to be the main focus of my card. So this is going to be my main panel. I'm going to pair it with a green card base to match the color of the leaves. And then all I'm going to do is to use the die and cut out the word happy birthday. You can leave it as it is, it's going to be a beautiful card showing through the green at the background, which is going to allow for the contrast and for the words to be readable. However, if you want, you can take it a step further, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this into a shaker card. So I'm cutting out a piece of acetate, making sure that it's going to cover up the back of the cutout words. And then I'm going to use double-sided tape and I'm going to go all around those words. Also make sure that you don't lose the little bits and pieces from die cutting the words. You can see that I left everything inside those dies at the left. I am going to use the little bits and pieces. They are going to help those two words to be more readable. You will see what I mean later on. So I'm going to peel off the backing, then stick the acetate on top, and I have a lovely window panel. And now I'm going to bring in my glue, my fine tip glue, as well as my little pickup tool, and I'm going to take my time and add those little pieces inside the letters, and I mean the little piece inside the letter A or the P's and the D's. It's not so difficult to do, and after all there are just a few letters that you need to do that. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to apply some foam tape. This is going to work as a barrier, so that when I add my shaker elements, they are not going to fly away. This is a very simple card to make. You can recreate it with any very busy pattern paper that you have, as long as you use a monochromatic background. If you want to create a quick and simple happy birthday card, if you need something really quickly, then this is a card to go. It does have a surprise element, since it does have that shaker element inside, but at the same time it's really quick and simple to create. Here are some close-up photos on the card, and always remember you can apply this idea on any pattern paper that you have at home, as long as you use a sentiment die on top. Moving on to the next card, all I did was combining two pattern papers, the pretty one with all the flowers, and then another one in a solid color that I cut out on an angle. I'm placing one on top of the other. If you want to take it a step further, you can tie a bow or wrap a ribbon where those two papers meet. I'm going to keep it nice and simple, just sticking happy birthday in white. And with beautiful pattern papers, you really don't have to do a lot. The hard work was done for you, plus you know that if you combine more than one pattern papers from the same part, they are going to match beautifully. I do have foam tape at the back of this panel. I'm sticking it on a standard A2 card size. And if you wish, you can scatter some gems or pearls to embellish it and add some sparkle. One tip you need to remember when you are working with 6x6 papers is that if you cut it in half, you will end up with two panels which are going to be perfect for slimline cards. So in this case, I'm going to make sure that I cut it in such a way that I don't lose that car on the back. And from the front, I'm going to end up with a lovely panel full of flowers, leaving some space at the center to stamp a sentiment. So I get two cards from one cut. And I'm going to show you today how I'm going to turn both those panels into cards today. My slimline card is going to be 3x6, so I'm going to cut off a little bit from the bottom of this panel so that I can still see the lovely color of my card base. And I do have a scrap of yellow from a previous card that I made that I can add underneath. So I just used some double-sided tape at the back, and I'm just going to leave only a very thin strip of that yellow to show, and then I'm going to stick this panel on top of my card base by using some foam tape at the back. You know I love dimension and I cannot stay away from it. And the fun part about this pattern paper is that it leaves a lovely empty space at the center where you can stamp your sentiment. If you don't want to stamp it, you can always die cut and stick something there. I'm going to embellish my card by adding some crystal gems at the center of some of the flowers, as well as scattered around the design. For that I'm using my Burley Art glue. I love this one because it has a very fine tip. I'm going to pick up the gems and stick them there. And you can embellish this design even more. I'm going to fuzzy cut a butterfly and stick it just above the letters. I get a lot of questions for the mini Slimline envelopes. I just make my own by using a Simon Says stamp die. And now same idea, I'm working on the other side of the half panel that I cut out from that same 6x6 paper. This time I'm going to pair it with green card base. On this scrap piece of paper I'm going to stick some of that washi tape included in the kit. I used the one with the glitter, and I did use a line of glue underneath just to make sure that it's going to stay put. I'm going to cut out those two strips and I'm going to stick them one on top and the other at the bottom of my main design. And of course you don't have to use that green pattern paper, I just had it as a scrap and I decided to use this one. The idea was to have some golden shine coming from behind that panel. I'm going to pair this panel with green card base. Again, I do have foam tape at the back. I'm going to stick it there, just making sure that it is as much center as possible. And then on the right, I have quite of empty space to stamp a sentiment, or even you can use the dies to cut out happy birthday and stick it there. I decided to go with one of the stamps from the stamp set. So I went with birthday wishes, and instead of using black ink as I would normally do, I decided to make it more fun by using different colors, yellow and pink, to match the colors of my paper. Again, you can scatter some gems or sequins or embellish it with pearls, it's up to you. And here are some close-up photos. The pattern papers you will find in this kit are 6. Up to now I have created 5 cards. And here is what I have left, just a few papers. I am going to create one more out of the scraps that I have here. For that I'm going to cut out those 2 frames and I'm going to turn them dimensional. So first I'm using my scissors to cut around them, and I'm talking about the yellow frame and this pink one. Then I'm going to use my craft knife. I like to roughly cut out the inside, I'm not going all the way to the edges, and I can then use my scissors to make a better job. I always cut out everything with a craft knife directly on my craft mat. This is the glass mat by Holtz, and I haven't found that it makes any scratches or anything. After all, I don't use that blade too much, so I never had problems with that for years. And again, still working with scraps, I'm going to fuzzy cut that vase. And I always leave some white space. It helps you cut out all those images quicker and easier. Also notice that I keep the scissors sturdy and I just move the paper to help the scissors do the job. So I also fuzzy cut a flower and some leaves, and now at the back of my 2 frames I'm going to add some foam tape and stick them on a white scrap paper. This is going to turn them dimensional and I will be able to tuck inside my other images. I'm going to use my scissors and cut them out, and hopefully you can see how dimensional they now look. These are great as elements on top of a card. So now again I'm going to use some foam tape and I'm going to stick my other elements coming out of those frames. For the pink one I'm going with the vase. And for the yellow one, I'm going to create a little composition with the flower and the leaves. Also notice that I'm using the last piece of pattern paper that I have as my background, which is this lovely floral one. And it is going to completely cover my card base, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to play around with them, decide how I want to arrange them on top of my card. I want to have them overlap somehow, so I'm going to use some foam tape to make sure that they are nicely leveled, one on top of the other. So for sticking them down, I am combining glue as well as foam tape. And of course you can stamp your sentiments and stick them down. I decided to go with the sticker sentiments that were included in the kit this month, so I'm going with a couple of them, one for each frame. So this is the 6th card for today, and by now I'm out of pattern paper. I cannot make any more cards out of the scraps that I have. But since you stayed all the way to the end, I'm going to share one more card, a bonus card, this time by using one of the stamp sets. I'm going for a mini Slimline card, so you can see that although this is a very big stamp, it would cover up a 6x6 paper, you can easily use parts of it to create smaller projects. So I'm working on Neenah Solar White cardstock. I did use alcohol-friendly ink, and now I'm coloring the image by using my Spectrum Noir Triplet markers. I absolutely love using them. I find them super quick and easy since I don't have to go through my stash of alcohol markers to find which markers would go nicely together. I have light, medium and dark just in one barrel, and I tend to grab those all the time. Now this is a very long video already, so I'm not going to bore you with coloring. However, I did use my markers to color the image. I'm just going to stick it on a yellow panel, and then I'm going to add a sentiment. and call this card done. Here are a couple of photos on the last card for today. Don't forget, just like always, down below in the description area you will find links to everything I used for creating all these cards. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave me a comment, to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope you'll all have a lovely week.